Hey everybody, Solar here. This semester I've been taking this class called Language of Color, where we study color and how it's used in art and how it is expressed in different cultures and all the different like color in marketing and how the kinds of effects that color has on people. And it's been really interesting. I'm super into color. I think color is a really fascinating subject. And as a game producer, color is a really important subject too. Lots of games use color in really unique ways because, I mean, it's a medium where things are built detail by detail, and thus everything really matters and because it was decided deliberately. And so there are games that like use color to express a mechanic change, like in Pac-Man, where the ghosts all change to blue when they become edible. There's also some games give color like a game specific meaning, like how in World of Warcraft and Hearthstone and many other games, like there's a color rarity scale, where blue means it's a rare item and orange means it's a legendary item. There's color palettes can often be used to like brand a game. Like if you see a blue and orange together, then a lot of people immediately think of Portal, because those two colors are like the only colors that really stand out in that game. And so lots of games do this kinds of things, and a really good game will do all of these things, right? And so I was thinking about games that, like, I wanted to come up with some sort of indie game that I could look at and that used color in a way to really like tell its story, and build its world. And so the one that came to mind first was the game Papers, Please. Papers, Please does a lot with color and symbolism, and so we're going to look at that a little bit today. Let's just start a new game. All right. So this is one of the first screens that we see, right? And all it is, you've got this red symbol, the hammer symbol, the words labor lottery. This is like the first thing I'm seeing, right? I know nothing about this game, and already I have this idea that it's in some sort of Eastern Bloc, Soviet, communist-esque country, just based on the symbolism and the colors that are being used here. I think that we're in some sort of Eastern Bloc country. And other than these red colors, everything is kind of drab, right? This apartment building looks super boring, and the color is just like pretty monochrome. And before we even get to this screen, which tells me where I'm at. I'm in this country called Arstatska. That's a completely fictional country, but I already have in my head this whole idea of what this country is, what this setting is. Glory to Arstatska. And this is the first bit of like explicit exposition that it gives us, outside of, you're going to be working on the border. So we're going to start with day one here, and you'll see that the setting here is very drab. Everything is kind of a similar color. It doesn't seem like a very happy place. And our first job today is to just approve our statskins and deny foreigners. And you'll see that really the most colorful thing in this entire environment are these two buttons right here, because these are the most important things to the gameplay, right? You have to approve or deny people. That is basically the gameplay at its core. You'll also notice this passport is a very different color than the other passport, which easily identifies it as being not an Arstatskin passport, because the Arstatskin passports are really are like this green color that kind of matches everything else on my screen. And I'm going to make a lot of people sad, because apparently they didn't know that foreigners were not allowed to come in. So yeah. Then we're taken to this screen at the end of the day, where everything again is the same color except for these things, these red things that are the important things to notice on this screen. These are your expenses, and you can see, like this first screen, it shows you this very clearly that you are going to have to pay $50 a day if you want to keep food and reheat. You made $65 today. Today was an easy day, and so That's not a very good ratio, you know, so I already kind of understand that. At the beginning of every day, it will give you this newspaper, which is a nice, like, minimal text way to give you kind of information on how this day is going to change. And then if you want more details on how this day is going to change, you get this little briefing on your desk first thing in the morning that actually gives you the details. So we now have the inspection software, which you can see here is also a bright red button because it's really important. This is another like game mechanic that's outlined in color. One of the criticisms that this game often gets is, as you can see, the gameplay is kind of monotonous, you know, and it's just like you get this in and you have to check things. And you'll see today, like, now I have to be checking things against, if I want to actually do things correctly, I need to be checking, like, whether or not this is a correct Antigrian passport, blah, 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 is the symbols, are the pictures good, all that sort of stuff. The fact that all of the documents are kind of the same color really adds to this feeling of, you know, this job is kind of boring. And, you know, that's... I think that's the feeling that Lucas Pope is going for in this game, is that this isn't a fun job, right? And I think the color really adds to that feeling. And so... Oh. So this is a very bright color compared to everything else. Just a little break from the monotony of working as a border guard. I think that's done very deliberately. Uh-oh, what's going on here? Jeez. We got this red blood. This blood is the only thing that was colored. The grenade wasn't colored, the explosion wasn't colored, it was just the blood on the ground. I think that's kind of morbid. We did not make enough money today to afford all of this. We're gonna have to go without food today. Another thing that the color does, kind of what that, you know, the color scheme is, everything kind of looks the same, and you end up with all these documents on your desk that all look the same, and you're trying to pay attention to all these things. And so the lack of color, the kind of not only adds to the dreariness, but also makes the whole game a little bit more difficult. And you've got this clock down here in the corner. I'm supposed to be paying attention to that because it kind of lets you know when your day's almost up, and you gotta be looking at this date, and later on you have to be looking at their weight. And all of these things are all kind of like, they all blend together, and so you easily forget to like all the things you need to look at because they're not colored really distinctly. And so that adds to the difficulty of the game, which I think is a really interesting method. Just notice when your mouse hovers over something you can interact with, it gets this little dash of red on it. Which makes it really clear when you're like, I'm like, oh yeah, I can click on that. I can click and drag that. It's not just something that my mouse can hover over, but it's something my mouse can actually do something with. What? I looked at that photo. See, that's another example. Like, the photos are so monochrome. Like it's like I think this is the same person. This is kind of easy. This is a bad example. But some of the photos like look like they could be the same person, but it's a little bit unclear. And you don't want to like risk wasting time like interrogating people where nothing's wrong. See, this is blinking now. I like didn't even notice this is blinking. It's been blinking for a while. Ooh, 17. And only 2 citations. Oh, 13. 4 citations. Oops. Everyone is hungry. So we're gonna not buy heat today because we need to buy food. The people are also very colorful. Even though they're all like monochrome, they're all different colors, which I think that's an interesting, I don't know, you could say commentary, the fact that everybody is so different, but at the same time, they're all still living in this, like look at how bored this person is. Even these people who are like living in this oppressed state have their own individuality. Anyways, so yeah, I'm not gonna spoil the rest of the game for you. It's a really good game. It does a lot of really great things with the fact that like the story, like a lot of games, you know, AAA games, they have to tell the story by like breaking the game, you know, to do a cutscene or to like do a conversation or something. With this, all of the conversations are part of the story, and like the story that happens up here on the screen like still happens while you're still working on stuff down here. So I think it does I love this game for that it does a super good job of blending the story and the mechanics together. And we already saw how like color is chosen very deliberately in this game. And so, yeah, that's basically all I have to talk about. So, thanks for watching.